Yo, quiet down.
Quiet coyote.
I believed in what they wanted to do as a mission at West Virginia University, and I thought I could help in that. Today is the day we begin a new era as we kick off a State of Minds, the campaign for West Virginia University.
Our overall goal is $750 million. Here's how we're doing so far.
So today, I am very pleased to announce and very excited to announce that a State of Minds, the campaign for West Virginia University, will continue through December 31, 2017 with a new goal of $1 billion.
Pleased to announce, because of the wonderful generosity of so many, that we've exceeded our $1 billion campaign.
So let me just say, $1 billion, that's a lot of money, and I've already spent it.
Thanks a billion.
Thanks a billion.
Welcome to the podium the co-chairman of the State of Minds campaign, Bob Reynolds and Verl Purdy.
Well, Verl, what do you think? It's hard to believe that it's been 10 years ago, you and I sat down and we started to undertake this endeavor. And the first thing we said, boy, we can't wait till it's over so we can celebrate.
That's exactly right.
And here we are.
Yeah, absolutely, Bob. Thanks. Thanks to all of you. It's just 10 years, and it's hard to imagine how many times that Bob and I have either shared a podium or individually been on a podium to talk about a State of Minds. It's been a wonderful experience for both of us, and we just can't say thanks to you enough. And I must say that all the times I've been here with Bob, he's never looked better than he does tonight.
I commend your eyesight. No, I cannot, watching that video, and just to think it's been 10 years, a lot of people have changed over that 10-year period, but quite frankly, Verl, one time I'm gonna have to agree with you. We do still look good.
You know, folks, what's so exciting about tonight is the fact that we have achieved this billion-dollar goal. And all of you here have been faithful donors and supporters of our university for a long, long time. And I bet you that most of you, when we said we were going to raise $1 billion, didn't actually believe that. But Bob and I did believe that and worked very, very tirelessly to achieve that goal. So we're talking about putting West Virginia in a class of 36 schools like Ohio State. And I don't know about you, but that makes me pretty darn proud to think that little West Virginia State and West Virginia University could mingle in groups like that. So it's just been a wonderful experience, and we just want to thank all of you so much.
You want to thank him again?
No, I don't think I'm good.
No, it was a interesting process because when we first got together, it was, let's set the goal at 750 million. And we're like, it's got to be $1 billion. I mean, we can do that. And there was a lot of consternation by a lot of people. So we started out at 750, but very quickly took it to $1 billion. So I'm very anxious tonight to see how far over $1 billion we got, because it was an ambitious goal, but one I had a lot of confidence in with the team involved and with the spirit of everyone involved with West Virginia University. One of the things I think we all should be very proud of is that over 90,000 people contributed to this campaign. Amazing number. Many of those contributed multiple times, and tonight we're going to have the pleasure of hearing from some of those donors, which I certainly look forward to, because I think everyone, deep down, it's the love of WVU and West Virginia, but everyone has their own reasons, which, you know, Verl, you and Sandy made a large gift to the Statler College. And why don't you start us off tonight and tell us why you did that?
Well, it's thanks. For us, it was a love gift, if you will. You know, when you see the work that the Energy Department at our College of Engineering is going to do to revitalize the economy of West Virginia, it's a good place to put your money. And secondly, I came from a poor, rural West Virginia family, a great family, but we didn't have any money, and we didn't have any social skills, and we didn't have any clothes. And for me, the only option was West Virginia University. So I came here like many of you, and I know Bob, and West Virginia molded us into something that could go out into the world and compete with the best and the brightest, and we did that. So if we can give back and someone can follow us, some young woman or some young man who wants to come to West Virginia from a similar background, and we can provide a scholarship and a path forward, we are very happy to do that. So what West Virginia provided us was a quality education, a chance to lead a very meaningful, happy, productive life, to travel the world, to have international businesses, and most importantly, and I want to quote my good friend Clay Marsh on this, it enabled us to lead a purposeful life. And for that, we will be eternally grateful, and we just hope that our gift can pave the way for someone who comes behind us. Now, I invite Bob to tell us about the gift that he and Laura made.
Well, thank you, Verl. That's great. Yeah, our gift was the School of Business, and for many years we've participated in giving to the athletic program, but for some period of time I wanted a gift that was meaningful, not just to the school, certainly to students, but to the state. And that's where Dr. Gee got involved, Dr. Reyes, the head of the business school, with a vision of a new business school. And to me, this was a changing moment, or could be a changing moment for this state. Because if you look around the country, states that have a growing economy, that have a thriving business community, all those states are led by a great business school. And we have that opportunity in this state. And that's what led Laura and I to make the decision. Let's make a significant contribution to help get this business school started. And with that, I'm very, very proud of what we've done thus far, and look forward to seeing this school coming out of the ground this fall.
Well, Bob, thanks to you and Laura, it was a great gift, and it will be transformational to our university. but we have a lot of stories to share with you tonight. So let's get started.
Okay, I can do that. I have the privilege and the honor of introducing our first speaker. And this individual needs no introduction. In fact, he just told me that earlier. He is the 24th president of West Virginia University and the only two-time president. And it has two significant points to it. Number one, he was the youngest president in the history of West Virginia University. And I'll leave the second one blank for right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Gordon Gee.
I just told them we're going to keep doing this because I'm going to keep spending their money. So what can I say, huh? It's wonderful. Come on, everyone. Isn't it great to be here? Come on. You know, this is not just a celebration. It is an occasion for us to recognize that this institution is, in many ways, the most important thing in the lives of so many people. There are 1.8 million West Virginians. And we know this. We know that in this state that we have raced to the bottom in so many ways. We have so many different problems. And that is the blessing of this university, because we now have the opportunity, thanks to everyone here, thanks to the money that you have provided. The difference between good and great is the money you provided, but really what we are doing is we're not about building buildings, although we're going to do that. We're not about building edifices. We're about building purpose. And Verl said that, and Bob said that. This is an institution, of all the institutions that I've served, there's no institution that I have seen that has more of a sense of purpose and place than this institution. And so that is what we're celebrating this evening. Our purpose is not to chase prestige. It is to make certain that we chase success. Our purpose is not to build ivory towers, as I said, but it's to be a helping hand, and in doing so, I think that we will make such a difference to so many. So the other thing is we can't stand pat. The world is changing very fast around us, and our institution can only succeed if we have the courage and the willingness to be able to move forward. And what we're celebrating this evening is not only a great moment in the life of the institution, but a moment of great motivation. So all of this is about unifying what we are as a place. One university, one state, one West Virginia, one place that can make a difference in the lives of so many. So I'd like to thank everyone who has helped to make this possible. Obviously, without Verl and without Bob and without Lauren, without Sandy, this would not have happened. They have done a tremendous job. They have motivated, they have given, and they have held our standards high. Give them a round of applause, would you please? And we've had so many volunteers that we want to appreciate everyone here. But obviously, Cindy Roth and her team, and really it has been such a unified effort that Cindy and her team, working with our deans and working with our faculty and working with our students, have created a generation of opportunities. Cindy, wherever you are, please, let's stand. Let's have her stand and be recognized. Would you please? So as Bob said, and Verl said, more than 90,000 generous people, that's a lot of folks, created 844 scholarships. And as you know, our major challenge is to make certain that students are able to afford to come to this great institution. And so they've helped so many talented students pursue their dreams. The people in this room endowed 57 faculty chairs and professorships to help us attract the best and the brightest scholars, and we are doing that. We established 227 research funds, which generated the ability for us to unleash our better angels and obviously to create innovation. And your incredible response shows that you believe in West Virginia. No one gives to individuals. They give because they believe, and you have done that. So I firmly believe that West Virginia's best days are ahead of it. I really do believe that. I'm not West Virginia by birth. I'm by choice, as many people are. And I chose to come back because this is an institution not only of purpose, but it's an institution in which people believe, and that is a higher calling, and that is something that we can take great pride in. So by supporting this campaign, what you have done is you have helped answer the calling $1 at a time and one life at a time. So to all of you, you have given West Virginia University 1 billion new opportunities to fulfill the promises of so many and to make a difference in the lives of so many. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ben and Joe Statler.
Good evening. Joe and I are very pleased to be speaking to you this evening about our philanthropic support. And I've had the honor of sitting on the WVU Foundation board for several years. And I want to share with everybody here, because I think it's important to everybody to know and feel comfortable that the staff at the foundation and the board at the foundation is focused on growing and stewarding our gifts. And they do a fine job of that. I think we should give them a round of applause. You know, we're often asked why we do what we do for WVU. And really the answer is simple. We were raised that way. And our families did it with a purpose, I think. You know, we always watched them help where people needed a hand or help where somebody wasn't as fortunate as others. And we always felt the same way. And I say they did it with a purpose because they did that not thinking about creating someone dependent on that, but creating someone who would be independent and be able to do it on their own from then on. And our giving, as we look back, has evolved over time. As we got more involved and talked to different leaders at the university, it wasn't a single decision that made our it was larger than the plan that we created and followed for several years. We support multiple programs at WVU because they're, in their own way, very special to the university and to us, and very important. Our giving at WVU actually started with sporting athletics. For several years, we gave beef to the Mountaineer Athletic Club to help feed the football team. We also made a gift to purchase the new scoreboards at the Coliseum. And as we got more involved, Coach Huggins asked us and said he wanted to create a first-rate basketball practice facility that he could bring recruits in and would be the best in the country. So we made a gift to help build what is recognized as one of the nicest facilities, practice facilities in the country. And now I'm told that schools come from everywhere around to WVU to see how to build their practice facility.
The Alumni Association is the one place every WVU graduate can call home. It is important to us as graduates, so we made a gift to the new Erickson Alumni Center, and we are very proud of that facility. As our giving has continued to evolve, we wanted to make a difference in cancer research, identification, and treatment. Cancer touches so many lives, so we supported the first mobile mammography unit at WVU, Bonnie's Bus, which they named after my mother. We wanted to make sure women across the state have access to mammograms in their own communities, something that might have caught my mother's cancer earlier. Bonnie's Bus was important to us, but we also support research and clinical care at the Cancer Institute. We need to find a cure for this disease, and why can't that be done here in Morgantown? And until that cure is found, women need the most progressive treatment in a comfortable setting, so our giving has also supported clinical needs at the Cancer Institute.
We all know we live in a state that is rich in natural resources. And much of our success has been tied to those natural resources and that natural resources industry. For a long time, I thought about how to make an impact on energy in the state of West Virginia. We had several conversations with Dean Cilento, and eventually led to Joe and I deciding that we would make a significant impact at WVU and the state of West Virginia by making that significant gift to the engineering college. Our goal was, and still is, for WVU to be known nationally as the top energy engineering school. We also wanted to support the college and let it be known as the Center for Energy Research that will help the state of West Virginia. The university was very generous in offering to name the college for our gift. In my speech at the dedication of the Statler College, I said that making our vision a reality now rests with the hands of the faculty, staff, and students of this great institution. The ultimate success of the gift will be up to them. They're the ones who will do the research, make the discoveries, and create the innovations in the coming decades. They're the ones who will teach, train, and by example, will lead the next generation of engineers and scientists. Today, they are the ones who are making that vision a reality.
Thank you for this opportunity to share our story, and we look forward to hearing some of your stories tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I can't say thank you enough. I actually interviewed and came here because of this facility. And without donors like them contributing and realizing, we need these types of facilities for our teaching and our research activities, faculty like myself wouldn't be here. We deal a lot with, and we have a lot of faculty interested in food and food production and environmental influence on food. And we can do that here, and we can talk about those issues with facilities like this. Please keep thinking about WVU and contributing to WVU, especially the students, because like I said, they really do appreciate resources like this. And they understand how lucky we are to have them.
When I was in high school in West Virginia, I had an opportunity to be a foundation scholar at WVU. And that was my origins at WVU. It was what enabled me to even go to college in the first place. It was a foundation scholarship, which I know that the campaign is supporting many, many future foundation scholars. And I only hope that it has the same impact on their life that it did mine. The Purdy Chair holds a place that's really near and dear to my heart. It's a name I'm very proud to wear because of the Purdy family and Verl and Sandra's history of giving to WVU, what it has done to allow me to come to WVU. Back in 2006, I was actually brought to WVU as the Purdy Fellow. And that was really the only way that the college and the university was able to hire me fresh out of grad school to come back to West Virginia and try to make a difference. As a land-grant institution, through our energy programs, we are the 12th highest funded land-grant institution in the country in energy research. And we take that and we try to develop technologies that help people in West Virginia.
I'm the first Statler chair at the engineering college. I'm also the director of the WVU, the Shale Gas Center called the C Group. Currently, I can tell you we already attract more than $10 million based on the donation, so our research is really growing. Thanks a billion.
To Verl and all the donors, thanks a billion.
Thanks a billion.
Please welcome Nora McDonald, WVU Professor Emeritus of Fashion, Dress, and Merchandising.
Thank you. My husband, Bill McDonald, and I joined the WVU faculty as a package deal, well ahead of the spousal hire program. The backstory on that, Bill made a presentation as a grad student at Iowa State. I understand that's the Big 12. He made a presentation at a professional meeting as a graduate student and was approached by the WVU Director of Plant and Soil Sciences. And Manon Gallagly told Bill that they had a position opening and he should consider applying. He did, and he got the position. The good news is that there was also a position in textiles and clothing, fashion design. I applied and got the position. We landed in Morgantown in 1971. For all the young people in the audience, we were really young at the time. We're now West Virginians by choice. President Gee mentioned that concept. We talked to others this evening who also mentioned that concept. Bill is a microbiologist with a specialty in forest pathology. We both are very committed to our programs. Bill has been instrumental in establishing and maintaining the longest United States Department of Agriculture working group with a focus on chestnut blight research. He has worked mainly with graduate students and also with seniors in forestry. I have worked mostly with undergrads and have always been interested in applying classroom knowledge to real-life settings, which can range from functional clothing design to designing with clients to off-campus learning opportunities. Our initial support established a Chestnut Research Fund to ensure continuation of Bill's program. They do have external public and private support, but we wanted to make sure it really does continue. For my program, we established a travel fund to help with the New York Fashion Study Tour, and also with Disegno Italia, or Design in Italy, so that students could have these off-campus experiences because there is no other support for those programs. We know from feedback that this support has enriched the lives of our students who have been on the receiving end. Bill's students have gone on to university and government positions, as well as positions in industry. My students work in all facets of the textile and apparel and retail industries, and have learned that networking is critical in our field and that they should give back. More recently, we set up a plant and soil science and fashion design and merchandising undergrad scholarships because there was a limit in both of these areas. We want good students to enroll and have financial assistance. The bottom line, we should all follow our passions and determine where there's a need and work together to have success at this wonderful institution. Working together has taken some interesting twists. For example, did you know that Cindy Roth has a passion for fashion? Cindy graciously agreed to be a client in one of my design classes, and the students benefited greatly from her interacting with them. And now you'll have to ask Cindy about her reaction. Thank you very much, and enjoy your dinner.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2016 Foundation Scholar Hayden Nichols.
The day I was told I was named a Foundation Scholar was full of a lot of emotions that I'm not really sure I have the words for still. Excitement, gratitude, and accomplishment filled that day. But perhaps most notably, I felt a sense of validation. For the majority of my life, my parents, family, friends had expectations for what I should do with my life and what I could become. But I was unsure. Was my passion really what I was supposed to be doing? Is it what the world needs? As a high schooler, receiving the Foundation Scholarship was a moment of clarity. I realized that somebody saw potential in the person that I had become and in the person that I wanted to be. Through the foundation, I was connected with professors performing research in autonomous robotics. They also saw potential in me and offered me an opportunity to get involved with their research. I'm now studying mechanical engineering, focusing my education towards autonomous robotics. My research involves developing and integrating a 3D LiDAR mapping system for an autonomous drone and ground vehicle pair. We're targeting it for search and rescue missions in dangerous locations like tunnels or mine shafts. I hope to graduate, pursue an advanced degree in robotics, and then start a research career looking for new ways that we can apply robotics to make our lives easier and safer. The Foundation Scholarship had two major effects. It bolstered my confidence in my chosen career path, and it opened my eyes to the place where I belonged at West Virginia University. When I was in middle school, my dad bought me an Arduino microcontroller kit. He saw it as an investment in my future to get me involved in programming and electronics. I was hooked from the start. It was one of the most important events in my life in deciding what my career should be. Perhaps the most important event was being named a Foundation Scholar. It was what brought me to WVU. With that in mind, to the people who make this scholarship possible, thank you. Your help funding Foundation Scholars like myself is a direct investment in improving the world we live in. We're bombarded daily by people and organizations talking about making a difference and accomplishing nothing. But you are making a direct, measurable change in the future of our state. In conclusion, thank you for providing me with an opportunity, a unique opportunity, to further pursue my goals.
And now, let's hear from 1989 Foundation Scholar Alyssa Sloan.
Good evening, and thank you for having me this evening. One of the things that they asked me to talk about was when I remember about getting a Foundation Scholarship. And that was 28 years ago. So I didn't remember a whole lot. I was the third class of Foundation Scholars. I remember getting a phone call. We had to wait by the phone in my living room all morning because I knew that I would be finding out that morning. I also received an official letter, and when we went to one of the Foundation Scholar events, I threw it away for some reason, and my mom made me go through the trash with her so we would have that to remember the whole event. And we still have that letter with food stains on it. I was already leaning towards WVU when I applied for the foundation scholarship. And of course, receiving the foundation scholarship was just nothing that I could ever imagine, that I would be able to go to school and everything would be paid for, and I wouldn't have any student loans. I could study what I wanted. I could go on a trip, and it would all be taken care of. One of the, I knew, though, the time that I was going to go to WVU when I came here in the fall of my senior year for a weekend to visit, and I walked up to Woodburn Circle in the fall, and I knew that this was the right place for me. I was a political science major at WVU, which means that I was able to take many classes from Professors DeClerico and Hammock, which I'm sure many of you remember. And Professor DeClerico just officially retired. They were a large part of my undergrad. Professor DeClerico was my advisor. And I just cannot, I will always remember the president class that he taught and the wonderful experience with him. I was also a member of the Student Government Board of Governors, which I very much so enjoyed, but it also made me realize that I never wanted to run a political campaign again. I thought at one time I might like to do that, and I said, no way. I knew that I wanted to go to law school. I thought after going to WVU for undergrad, I would probably go out of state for law school. The longer I was in undergrad, I began to realize that I was from West Virginia and I wanted to stay in West Virginia. And for that reason, I went to WVU Law School. And after I graduated from law school, I worked for several judges in the state. And then my family, we settled in Martinsburg, West Virginia, where I work for Steptoe and Johnson. I'm so glad to be in West Virginia and that we stayed in West Virginia. And I think that having the foundation scholarship really started me on that path. I have a 14 and a 16-year-old boys, and I hope I'm raising the next generation of people who will stay in West Virginia. My 16-year-old is already looking at WVU as one of his top schools to apply to. And I just am very happy to be here with all of you and to thank the donors for making this scholarship possible.
My mom loved West Virginia, loved Morgantown, and very, very proud of being from West Virginia. So, yeah, I think, my mom and I were very, very close, and she was my best friend in the world. My mom was diagnosed with cancer and really stayed alive until her 50th wedding anniversary. Cancer took my best friend away, so it's a very passionate thing for me, but it's a very passionate thing for a lot of people. If you're going to spend money for flowers, why don't you just give money to research? And so we set up an endowment in my mother's name, and that's kind of where it started. And people have been absolutely phenomenal. And we started this fish fry deal, and the fish fry this year was $380,000 that we netted. I think it goes to show you how much people care and how much people in this state care about finding a cure. And who says we can't do it? Who says we can't find a cure for cancer right here in West Virginia? I think the people in this state deserve a first-class situation in terms of fighting cancer, and we certainly have that. But we got to get more. We got to get it to the point where we really can help. And again, I would be the happiest person in the world if we found a cure for cancer right here in West Virginia. What's amazing as we travel around the country is the number of West Virginians that are so proud You know, we play Texas and we have 5, 6, 1,000 people there. I don't know, that wear the flying WVU proud. I don't know what you have to say, because I just think that West Virginia people are so proud of being from West Virginia. Thanks a billion.
Please welcome to the stage Joyce McConnell, Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs at West Virginia University.
Well, good evening, everyone. We have a billion reasons to celebrate, don't we? It's been an amazing evening so far, and we've heard so much from so many individuals. And I want to thank all of those students, our foundation scholars, present and past, who shared their stories. We are here now, and I have the rare opportunity and honor to actually talk about one of our donors that is not an individual donor, is actually a foundation. But one individual has been key to the direction of the foundation and the foundation's commitment to West Virginia University and to West Virginia. We're honored to have Pat Getty and his wife Sally with us tonight as we recognize his leadership of the Claude Worthington Benedum Foundation for their astonishing and sustained record of more than 40 years of generous support to West Virginia University. In those 40 years, the Benedum Foundation has supported more than 250 projects at West Virginia University for a total investment of more than $35 million. And in the 22 years that I've been here, I have participated in many of those projects. So I can speak from experience about the impact that the Foundation's investment in West Virginia University and West Virginia has made to all of us. The Benedum Foundation was initially founded to help people help themselves, which is a mission that resonates deeply with all of us in West Virginia and at West Virginia University. Under Pat Getty's leadership, the Benedum Foundation has consistently been an organization with both focus, purpose, and principles. And this powerful combination has allowed the foundation to accomplish a great deal of good in our state, in the region, and in the world through programs whose positive impacts will be both lasting and significant. The Foundation's primary focus has been helping West Virginia build a solid foundation for the future. To this end, Pat has overseen Benedum initiatives that support education, health, and economic development. He has further insisted on adhering to several guiding principles: innovation, stakeholder investment, and sustainability. These ensure both the viability and the value of each and every project Benedum touches. We have seen the potency of what happens when focus meets purpose and principle in the projects that Benedum has supported here at WVU. Take, for example, a recent collaborative study on creating underground facilities to store natural gas liquids from Marcellus and Utica wells. The Benedum Foundation joined funders from industry and from government to explore the enormous potential to be found in the economic development of shale gas and the future prosperity of West Virginia and of our region. The public-private partnership was clearly focused on the future of our state, specifically on developing our area as a super region for petrochemical, plastics fabrication, and advanced manufacturing and jobs and investments. But in the end, it's all about building a complex of opportunities for work for our people and for their families. This project also highlighted the foundation's principles, prioritizing collaboration amongst diverse stakeholders to leverage the resources that each can bring to common concerns. Siloed projects are antithetical to the mission of the Benedum Foundation. On the contrary, under Pat's leadership, the foundation expects all stakeholders to not only be involved in a project at the outset, but to play a role in implementing outcomes and to prove those outcomes. That is why gifts from the Benedum Foundation are so valuable. Their gifts do keep on giving, as the saying goes, producing real change, real progress, real results. We are so grateful to the Benedum Foundation, and we are grateful specifically to you, Pat. You have seen so many Benedum investments from the first spark of inspiration to reality. As some of you may know, Pat recently announced his retirement as president of the Benedum Foundation, so we wanted to take just a moment this evening to thank him publicly and enthusiastically for all that he has done for our university and our state. Pat, the impact that you have made, the impact the Benedum Foundation has had here at WVU during your tenure as president has been incredible. We wish you and your wonderful wife, Sally, who I know wants to take you hiking as soon as she possibly can, all the best for the next stage of your lives together. Won't you please stand and allow us to show our appreciation for your extraordinary leadership. And personally, Pat, I want to thank you for being such a tremendous supporter, but also an incredible partner. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Neil and Connie Bucklew.
Connie and I are so pleased to be with you this evening and to be able to share our approach to being part of this campaign. Ours was a joint gift. The reasons were often shared, but there were some individual motivations as well. One of the first areas of our support was the university's athletics program. Connie and I have a shared family, a merged family, and they're all over the United States, from Seattle to Boston and points in between. And when the Mountaineers are playing, it's gold and blue for all of them. The athletic program is a tie that binds, and it binds for families across this state. I had a personal reason for wanting our joint gift to include athletics. When I was serving as president of the university, I approached the athletic department with quite a challenge. I asked them to be one of the first programs in the United States to become totally fiscally independent. At that stage across the United States, universities were subsidized, if you will, providing support for their athletic programs. Resources were tight, and I asked them to step up to that challenge if they could. And they did. And it released support that we could use for other activities. And one example of that was no longer did the general fund of the university provide athletic scholarships. The athletic department took on that responsibility. And the resulting available funds allowed us to begin our honors program. So Thank you. And thank them. Our gift to athletics is in recognition that they need to be self-sufficient, and that requires fans and friends of that program to be part of their support. We were pleased that we could. A second area of our giving was to the College of Business and Economics.
Giving. You like that. Giving to the College of Business and Economics is a shared interest, but we developed that interest through different paths. I found myself in midlife as the single mother of 2 young sons. I'd always been interested in business, but in my early college years, studying business hadn't been on my radar. I enrolled in the MBA program, which at that point had a new curriculum for older second career students. Being a non-traditional service wasn't easy. I had to juggle my studies, being a mom, and holding a job. But I persevered, and after completing my graduate degree, I went on to obtain a securities license and certification to be a registered investment advisor. So I credit business and economics with launching me into a successful, nearly 20-year career in investments.
My interest in the College of Business and Economics was because it gave me a second career. When I left the presidency of the university, I had the opportunity to spend over 20 years as part of the faculty staff family in the College of Business and Economics. A lot of my work focused on the Master of Science Industrial Relations program. So our gift to B&E reflected our mutual yet individual interest in that college. A third area of our giving involved the university libraries. No one gets a degree from the library, but every degree we have is enhanced by their contributions. They also represent the depository of West Virginia's precious history, and we value that. A fourth area and last area of our support was the WVU Alumni Association.
A university will ultimately be known by the contributions of its sons and daughters. The Alumni Association provides the coordination that allows the university's sons and daughters to be part of the WVU story following their formal studies. Our Alumni Association is another financially self-supporting part of the university community. It relies on private gifts from its friends and from its students. I'm a WVU grad. Neil attended WVU and had the opportunity to serve WVU as its president and as a faculty member. We consider ourselves fortunate to be connected with the Alumni Association and are pleased to invest in its future.
We'd like to conclude our remarks. I want to share a story about a very special luncheon. It was a luncheon that involved just 2 people. Hazel Ruby McQueen invited Mike Pushkar to come to lunch at the Hotel Morgan many, many years ago. And she had a simple message for Mike, and it's one that each of them shared with me subsequently. And that message was, Mike, give now. Give now when you can feel the joy of watching your gift in action. Well, that was a wonderful luncheon message, and it's one Connie and I have taken to heart. Thank you very much.
I think it's crazy and I love it. I mean, I don't live in the state all the time anymore. I live in South Carolina, and I get a lot of jokes about West Virginia, and you know, and I kid about West Virginia. It doesn't bother me at all. But when I tell people that West Virginia University raised $1 billion over the last 5 or 6 years, that gets our attention, and I'm so proud of that. I mean, I'm proud of the state anyway, but that really says something dynamic about how our fans, how our alumni, how our business people support our state and our university.
I think that the fact that West Virginia University raised $1 billion, with a B, billion dollars, is just mind-blowing. And it could not be a bigger tribute to the university and to the people that are passionate about it. You know, I have a T-shirt, I think, that says "Forever a Mountaineer," and I think everyone believes that, and it's certainly true in my case.
Thanks a billion.
Thanks a billion.
Please welcome to the stage Steve Farmer, trustee with the Hazel Ruby McQueen Charitable Trust.
Good evening. Good evening. I was told to talk for 3 to 5 minutes. I'd take the over if I were y'all. But for many years, I had the honor to know Hazel Ruby McQueen. I've had the privilege of representing her and the privilege of talking about her. And many people in this room have heard us talk about her, but how many people in this room actually knew Hazel? Time is our enemy. That is about 3% of this room. So if you'll give me a minute, I'd like to introduce you to Hazel. It will not do her justice because her life is much more important than this, but in a few minutes, Hazel Ruby and J.W. Ruby traveled to Morgantown in the height of the Depression in the 1930s. They came together. Neither one of them had an education. They came from Coshocton, Ohio, and they came here with an idea to start a company. They brought 6 men with them. It was 8 people. Started a company from scratch called Sterling Faucet. They got up every day, they worked. They had an ethic. They were smart and they had wisdom. And 15 years later, by 1950, Sterling Faucet was the largest manufacturer of faucets in North America. At its height in the mid-50s, they employed 13,000 people. They employed most of Morgantown, and they treated their employees in this community as their family. They were tremendous people who had the most amazing values and stick-to-itiveness that you could imagine. J.W. got sick and died in 1972. When that occurred, everything had to be liquidated before he died because the family would have lost all the taxes. And so upon his death, Hazel had substantial wealth. She was not the wealthiest human being in the world, but she could have afforded to live anywhere she wanted. She could afford to do anything she wanted. She had tremendous means. She chose to live the remaining 30 years of her life in a duplex on Allison Avenue over in 2nd Ward. Later on in life, her splurge was she had a Cadillac and a driver. But beginning in 1972, she decided that the rest of her life would be devoted to philanthropy, to taking care of this community and its people in West Virginia the same way they had always treated their employees, like family. She didn't really know what that meant, but she knew what she wanted to do. She didn't know how to do it, and there was no owner's manual for it, but she knew what she wanted to do. And she had a simple philosophy of giving, and that was she wanted to give gifts that would help the most people. Very simple. Some days it's complicated, you can't figure it out, but very, very simple. And she began to do it. And in those days, one of the first things that happened, even though she had no connection to West Virginia University other than living in this community, she was not a beneficiary of higher education. Lysander Dudley, who was the director of the WVU Foundation at that time, put her on the foundation board. When she went on the foundation board, I want everybody to think about this for a second, particularly on this evening. The foundation was managing slightly over $1 million. Not $1 billion, $1 million. And she made it her business in her quiet way to look around and see how things were being done. And what she saw was the foundation was raising money $25 at a time, 50, having students on phone banks calling and soliciting, right? She made a decision. She made, in 1978, the first $1 million gift ever given to the foundation. It was given in honor of Dr. Flink, who treated J.W. in his last years with his illness. And her purpose was to change the way that people felt about giving. Now think about that. She wanted to give an impact gift that would literally double the size of the foundation, and it was to change the way that people think about giving. I'll tell you a funny story about it. When it was to set up a chair, and the foundation at that time had never had a chair. Nobody knew how to write a chair agreement. So Hazel's trusted lawyer and trustee, a fellow that I'm very fond of, my father, wrote the first chair agreement of the foundation. That was because it was Hazel's vision. So on this night of celebrating $1 billion, Hazel was there when it was $1 million, and she gave the first $1 million gift to create a new environment, and many, many after that. But that's one gift that I'd like everybody to think about. That's Hazel visiting every table in this room tonight, because y'all gave in ways and have raised money in ways that nobody thought of before that. There's one other gift. Now, during Hazel's life, she gave thousands of gifts. And since her passing in 2002, there have been thousands more, because Hazel decided that her giving would go on into perpetuity. And there literally, West Virginia University probably candidly gets more than its fair share because they are uniquely qualified for the mission of helping the most people with giving in terms of health care, education, impact giving that can change lives. West Virginia University is uniquely qualified to carry out that mission. There's one other gift that I'd like to talk about because I think it's very appropriate tonight. In the early 80s, there was a 36-year-old president of West Virginia University, a little fellow from Utah, a Mormon, and I think if he were going to tell you, he couldn't get the job without Hazel, right? Hazel had to sign off on him. But there was a crisis. So I think by the time he was 37, maybe, there was a major crisis involving the WVU Med Center. And I don't know how people know how serious this was, but the old Med Center building, which is still up there, had basically been condemned. They could not use the operating rooms. It was in needed major investment. And there was a general kind of consensus in Charleston that through the legislature that they would just move the whole thing to Charleston and Morgantown would lose it. This young president, Gordon Gee, and a hospital administrator named David Fine, who was a smart guy, came to Hazel's lawyer and said, we're in a real bind here. We need to move, and we need to move quickly. or we're going to lose this hospital. There will be no medical school in Morgantown. And I said, what do you want to do? And they sat down and they conceived of what is now Ruby Memorial Hospital. And that required, they said, can you get her interested in it? And, you know, she listened to it. She did not have, she was wealthy, but she did not have the kind of money they were talking about. And that was, we need an $8 million check, not a pledge. We need a check. In order to sell the bonds, we need to have the cash in the bank. So we're asking for an $8 million give right now. Hazel thought about it, said, I want to do it. And she transferred $8 million worth of Rockwell International stock, delivered it to the foundation. But her lawyer wanted to have it all lawyered up. So he went to the legislature and passed the law that created WVU Hospitals, Inc., or Corp., because at the time, the Med Center had an antiquated billing system and they could not get paid for what they did. So in order to get the gift, there had to be two things. Number one, it created WVU Medical Corp., which allowed them to bill. And number two, there's a statute on the books that says that always has to be in Morgantown, West Virginia. Now, the footnote to that story is, over the last 30 years, that hospital has treated millions of patients, employed hundreds of thousands of people, but it has generated annually over $2 billion to this community. Now, that is a gift that helps the most amount of people, right? And so on this night, when we're celebrating the wild success that she never could have dreamed of, if she was standing here, what she would want me to say to you all is, well done. It was her vision, even though she couldn't see it to completion. Well done. And now she would like me, if she were here, she would ask you, stand back, stand up, and give each other and the people on the tables next to you a standing ovation for a job well done. Thank you.
That a WVU tradition meets innovation. Just to know that it's a part of West Virginia, it's a part of how I've grown up, and I have the opportunity to further my education at WVU is exciting. Oh yeah. Foundation scholar. So is that even real? Do you usually do this? Is this new? I have to call my mom. Hey, this was for the foundation scholarship. I got the foundation scholarship.
Actually, how are you?
I'm so happy. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, that makes me very happy. Congratulations to you.
Thank you so much.
We know that you've had a lot of choices, but we desperately want to have you come, and you will be a star at our place. And the most important thing is that you'll have so many choices in your life. You know that, don't you?
What is the absolute best way to go to college every day? It isn't by car, pier-to your plane, and you won't need to grab a ride on a train. What is the absolute best way to get to WVU every day? No. On a foundation scholarship, of course.
I just received the foundation scholarship. I'm so excited, so grateful, and I cannot wait to continue my education at West Virginia University. Let's go Mountaineers!
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to the Mountaineer family Ashley Eby and Morgan Glass, two of our newest class of Foundation Scholars with us tonight. And would all our current Foundation Scholars joining us tonight please stand and be recognized for your achievements. Please welcome Scott Widmeyer.
Well, it is so great to be part of this celebration this evening. It's a proud moment. You just saw our Foundation Scholars. It's a proud moment that we're celebrating for this fantastic university. And it's a testament to everyone in this room tonight that you have made a difference in generating more than $1 billion to support our students, our faculty, and WVU's reach in the state and across this globe. All of us have great memories of our time on campus. And for me, it was a no-brainer to want to be an ambassador for this university, and particularly for the WVU Reed College of Media. I truly enjoyed chairing the Reed College of Media's capital campaign. And in doing so, more than $6 million was secured for our college from alums, foundations, companies, and others. A huge thanks to my colleagues who joined us in this campaign. People like Alexis Pugh, who you saw earlier this evening, and others who are here tonight. We put our faith in Dean Marianne Reed, in her fantastic faculty, and in the students, because at the end of the day, it is all about the students. And there were hundreds of people who joined us. You know, when you believe in something, it's pretty easy to go out and ask your friends and your network to get behind a cause. And that's what we did. I'm a big believer, if you don't ask for something, you probably will not succeed at meeting your goal. From my childhood to now, it was always ingrained in me to volunteer and to support great causes, causes like this university. I learned that from my dad. He's sitting right over here tonight, Doug Widmeyer from Martinsburg. And from my mom. And I want to recognize my dad's spirit of giving. He's still involved today, 87 years old, Habitat for Humanity, WVU, the WVU Hospital. It goes on. And I thank him for what he's been able to give me to give back. Way back in the 1970s, I was editor and managing editor of the DA. Those were fantastic days. We had a great, great newspaper. And the motto that we adopted for that newspaper, and it continued until a year or so ago, I'm not sure why they got rid of it, but our motto for 40 years was, little good is accomplished without controversy, and no civic evil is overcome without publicity. That motto will always stand the test of time, and it's vitally important in this period that we currently live through in the state and in the United States and around the world. The great thing that sustains us through extraordinary times are media organizations, media that uncovers the wrongs in our society. And the teaching and learning that happens here at the Reed College of Media makes a difference every day because they are teaching the future media professionals that go out and do these jobs. And that's why our family has provided financial support for several dozen scholarships, including first-generation West Virginia students, African-American students, and students from the Eastern Panhandle. That's why we endowed the first of its kind professorship of public relations. And Diana Martinelli holds that professorship today, and she has now taken on the role of assistant dean within the college. My door is always open to young people. I want to serve as their mentor and be a guidepost to help them develop their careers. One of the projects that we're supporting with WVU as we speak tonight is a partnership between WVU and George Washington University. And it's involving 3 students from the Reed College of Media and 3 students from GW. They are working together this week, last week, and the week before, and next week. They're doing a project on America's energy economy. They're bringing students from Washington, D.C. at GW into West Virginia to understand how West Virginians are impacted by energy and what the future of the energy economy is, not only in West Virginia, but how it extends to the rest of the world. A week from now, those stories will be published, they'll be online, they'll be multimedia, and it will be an unbelievable partnership. We call it kind of the partnership between the red and the blue states. And this is what we have to be doing. We have to bring people together, and that's what this project is doing. So, in closing tonight, I urge everyone here, stay involved, stay connected, and spread the word. Keep spreading the word on the great things that are happening at this university. Thank you very much for your support.
Being from West Virginia to me has been a sense of pride and something, quite frankly, that I thought it made me work harder. So many times where you went to school or even where you grew up is a ticket to the party. And you know, a West Virginia ticket may be a little harder to get in the door, but what I've found out in business, once you're in, it's what you do. It's who produces and who accomplishes things and who drives the business forward are going to be the winners.
So being a foundation scholar, you get this really unique opportunity. So I used my stipend to study abroad in Uganda, and also encouraged me to apply to the Fulbright scholarship. And I actually got it. So I'm going to do a Fulbright ETA in Bulgaria, and it all started from that stipend that just encouraged me to try something new and study abroad. And it kind of sparked a passion I didn't even know I had.
My research focuses on the dynamic modeling of energy systems, particularly coal-fired power plants, and the control and optimization of those plants. When Ben Statler said it's up to you, I think it gave me the chance to know that I was going to make a bigger impact, especially when considering energy and how that impacts regular people's lives every day.
Yeah, sure, I'm a rocket scientist. My work here at WVU is mainly focused on the Mars Traverse project. So we are collaborating with NASA on their next Mars mission, which is a Mars sample return. So we are going to work on the rover that will land on Mars, pick up the samples, and bring them back on Earth. So I've met Ben Statler once, and I realized that we actually have a lot in common. My background initially is in mining engineering, and he is a mining engineer. Beyond that, I've noticed that saying that I'm a Statler Fellow, usually people are impressed, so I'm quite proud of that. And I will definitely, once I land on Mars, I'll say go Mountaineers.
Thanks a billion.
Thanks a billion.
Thanks a billion.
In the fall of 2017, Morgantown natives Wes and Natalie Bush made a substantial gift to support a new wellness initiative on campus. Unfortunately, Wes and Natalie could not be with us tonight. Please turn your attention to the video screens to learn more about this new program. We applaud the Bushes for choosing to direct their philanthropy toward this new program. As President Gee stated, this effort supports our 3 pillars of education, improving health, and building prosperity. This is important for our students and vitally important for the citizens of our state. And now, let's welcome David and Joanne Shaw.
Thank you very much. It's hard to follow in the steps behind Eli, Gabrielle, and especially Savannah. We all know about Savannah, but we'll try their best. David and I are blessed and very thankful for the education that we received at West Virginia University and the opportunities that had provided us over the years. We're now retired, and we wanted to figure out what our legacy was all going to be all about, and we wanted to figure out what we can give back to WVU. Because education is so important to us, what we decided to do was provide some seed money in the training of medical students, specifically ultrasound training of medical students that is given to the medical students from the first year to the fourth year. And now, because of the efforts of Dr. Minority, it is part of the curriculum, of the routine curriculum of the medical students. So when they graduate, they're actually proficient at ultrasound. This may sound simple, but it's extremely important when you think about rural hospitals, rural clinics that don't have the accessibility of CT scans and fancy radiologic studies to be able to triage patients and to provide appropriate care for those patients. So we thank Dr. Minority for his efforts in this endeavor, and we also wanted to recognize that WVU was one of the early adopters of ultrasound training in the curriculum for the education of medical students. So kudos to the School of Medicine for doing that. Thank you. Along that theme, one of the things that we did was establish scholarships in the School of Medicine. And these were for non-traditional students like Dave and I. We didn't have a lot of financial resources, and we had to work during medical school and pharmacy school, which provided a lot of stress for us along the way. So if we can relieve that stress for medical school students, that was extremely important. So we designed a scholarship for non-traditional medical students who don't have the financial resources and may have to work during school. And we provide a scholarship for every year of that medical school's, that student's education. So we're very proud of that and very proud of all of our scholarship recipients.
By far, our proudest moment came when we established the David and Joanne Shaw Stimulation Training for Education and Patient Safety, which is short, they call STEPS. But
It's
we just call
fabulous. You have to get there.
We just call it the Sim Lab, and it's state of the art. Not many universities in the country have this, and we're proud to have our name associated with this. It trains physicians and all other allied health professionals. The faculty is used by undergraduates as well, postgraduates, community personnel, and the medical staff. A broad range of people use the facilities, and there is a range of programs available that makes us feel that our money is being put to a really good use. Aside from the technology, it is the human touch that makes it all work. Dr. Williams, Daniel, Rusty, and the rest of the staff are incredible. While the Sim Lab is great, the people behind also are just as good, and that makes the difference in this, to bring this to an unbelievable experience.
And it's kind of interesting hearing about the background of Ruby McQueen, because that's been our philosophy all along too. So I think, unbeknownst to us, we were kind of following in her footsteps.
And they work extremely hard at the Sim Lab, and they get certified, and we're hoping by next year they will have the largest percentage of certified technicians in the country at any medical school in that, which I think is a great plus for the university. Sooner or later, we all need doctors, so we're hopeful that
and healthcare
it's later than sooner, you know, and you know, your kids, your grandkids, and we're hoping that this training will bring out the best candidates possible in medical school, and hopefully they'll stay in the area and show the results of that. And then also we'd like to thank Cindy and the foundation. Over the years, as I said, we started out with small little donations to see how our money was going to be used, and we were always pleased with the results of the use of our money.
They far exceeded our expectations, and we feel very comfortable in the way that they've handled our contributions and how they kept us involved all along in everything that we wanted to accomplish personally.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause for the incoming chairman of the WVU Foundation Board of Directors, Bob Orders.
Thank you. What a wonderful evening this is. I am Bob Orders. I was raised in St. Albans, West Virginia, by parents who attended WVU and actually met here in Morgantown. So I guess you could say that without this university, I wouldn't exist. I choose to give back to WVU because this university has given so much to me and my family. It provided me with a great civil engineering degree, education, which made possible a successful career in the construction industry. And while I was here, I met Ann, my wife of 46 years, and we met in the most romantic of all places in Morgantown, calculus class. Ann and I have established 3 endowed scholarships at WVU, 2 in engineering, my home college, and 1 in education for STEM teachers, Ann's degree program. We felt a need to give students today the opportunities and experiences that we enjoyed and to help them afford their education. As we all know, there are a number of students that don't have the means to pay for their education without taking on significant debt, and we hope that by creating these scholarships, we can help some of these kids fulfill their dreams just as we did. I have a funny story that says a lot about being a Mountaineer. Many years ago, when I was a sophomore at WVU, we were on the eve of playing Syracuse in football, and I think it was a November evening, when it started pouring snow. Late Friday evening, a call went out on the radio. There were no cell phones. Asking students to come to Old Mountaineer Field with shovels, brooms, anything they could grab to help move snow so that we could play football the next day. So hundreds of kids, you know kids, I mean, it's Friday night, let's have a party. So we all just rolled down to Old Mountaineer Field. They put some lights on, and everybody brought anything you could grab to push snow with. And we cleared snow. It was a grand setting with snow falling and the lights. I learned 2 things that night. Number 1, if you're in a snowball fight and someone behind you calls your name, don't turn around. And the second thing I learned is that when the Mountaineer community is called on, even at the last minute, even without the right tools, we can pull together and accomplish great things. With the State of Minds campaign, you were called on for help. And you responded, and $1.2 billion later, we accomplished a great thing. I don't remember if we beat Syracuse that snowy weekend, but I always remember how proud I was of our efforts to clear snow off Old Mountaineer Field that night, and I'm just as proud of the Mountaineer Nation for stepping up to make this campaign such a great success. And now let's hear more about the impact of scholarships at WVU.
What really gives me joy, the ability to continue my father's legacy. He was a pharmacist in Clarksburg, West Virginia. He was the first kid in his family and 9 to go to college. And the pharmacy school was just really important to him. So that gives me joy in a small way to be able to continue the Alan Mathis and Elvira Mathis, legacy.
I just want to say thank you from the very bottom of my heart for the opportunities that I have because of people like donors behind the scenes that make this type of opportunity possible for me.
It's just been an incredible experience for me to be here at WVU and to meet all the people that I have and to pursue my dreams. I can't wait to be able to give back to another student like me one day and help them pursue their dreams.
The Dr. Patricia K. Fell Scholarship, it means a lot to me because when I came in here fall 14, I promised my mom and dad that I was gonna earn a scholarship. I'm just very proud of, my hard work, the people who've given me chances to shine. So I just want to say thank you.
He had you a cookie.
Oh, thank you. So good. I want to take that and what I've learned with me and help kids learn more than just like numbers and letters. I want them to understand that there's a lot more to school and family and life through the work that we do with them. Thanks a billion. Woo!
Ladies and gentlemen, joining us tonight is Kyle Pratt.
Good evening. My name is Kyle Pratt, and I am the grandson of Mike Pushkar. It is an honor to stand before you today to talk about my grandfather. Thank you. Thank you. It is an honor to stand before you today to talk about my grandfather on such a monumental occasion. Not a day goes by that his humor and larger-than-life personality are not greatly missed. 15 years ago, my grandfather made a historic gift of $20 million to WVU's Building Greatness campaign. In a time of great need, he made this generous gift with the intent to support not only WVU athletics, but also its current and future athletic scholars. Mike Pushkar gave to many causes, but WVU and WVU athletics always remain near and dear to his heart. In fact, my grandfather was such an avid fan that on the Saturday that I was born, he kindly but firmly reminded my mother that kickoff was at noon and she needed to hurry things along. Anyone that knows my mother knows I can't say what happened next. But promptly after I was born at 12:16, he made it to the WVU football game in time to catch the second half of the Maryland game. Passion for sports, especially WVU football, is something that we enjoyed throughout our time together. From a young age, my grandfather bestowed upon me the importance of giving back and enriching the lives of others. He told me that life is simply about giving back He told me that giving back is what life is all about. To give something back, in particular, to gift a better life for the people of West Virginia, is what I intend to do as president of the Milan Pushkar Foundation. My grandfather believed that accomplishments always derive from togetherness, not individual endeavors alone. And we are also fortunate to witness what he and the WVU Foundation were able to accomplish together. In following his philanthropic legacy, the Milan Pushkar Foundation plans to enhance the quality of life throughout the state of West Virginia. We hope to honor a man who gave so much to so many. Earlier this year, I received a package full of thank you letters from current student athletes attending WVU via scholarships provided by my grandfather. 6.5 years have come and gone since we lost such an amazing leader, philanthropist, and most importantly, our friend. But even today, he is still teaching us all the value of giving back. Although years have passed, I still receive calls from those who describe what an impact he had on their lives. We will never know how many lives he touched. In fact, it's impossible to quantify, but that's exactly how he would have wanted it. My family and I want to thank WVU, the WVU Foundation, and Mountaineer Nation for continuing to honor my grandfather and the impact he made on this community. As big as that impact was, I assure you it wasn't nearly as large as the impact that this community and this university had upon him. Although he isn't with us today, the Milan Pushkar Foundation will continue his work of giving back, and I am proud to play a vital role in his ongoing legacy. Thank you all so much.
And now, please welcome Marty Becker.
Good evening. I sit here tonight
and I listen to all these testimonials, and it just reinforces the tremendous pride that I have, and I know all of you all have, in our university. And it just makes you proud to be a Mountaineer. So good evening to all of you. Like many of you, for my wife Kathy and me, our years at school at WVU were transformational. Through the experiences we had, the education we received, and the relationships we made. You might have noticed our graduation was a few years ago, but the memories and the appreciation stay strong, and our relationship with the university has been lifelong and one with great fulfillment. WVU today is a much larger, stronger, more diversified institution than when we attended. However, the impact it has on the lives of today's students is no less and potentially even greater. Our university is at the forefront of not only educating our youth, but also working hard to accelerate the diversification and economic development of our state. This will benefit all West Virginians. We are a university with a real sense of purpose and a mission. If our state is going to achieve its potential, it needs a next generation that is also well-educated, highly motivated, and also has a real sense of purpose. Assuring our best and brightest had the opportunity to attend this university and experience the same impactful benefits Kathy and I and many of you all have, is why we chose to participate in the Capital Campaign with a series of scholarships in our respective colleges of business and economics and law. And I will say it gives me a special pleasure tonight to have Bob and Laura here, because the College of Business and Economics, which is near and dear to my heart, through their leadership is going to have a great new building in the not too distant future. So we're really excited about that. But in all seriousness, my own opportunity to attend WVU was greatly assisted by the financial aid opportunities available at that time. This university is a special place, and it's only right that Kathy and I reinvest some of our good fortune to help others have the same opportunity. This investment and others like it will benefit West Virginia University, and future Mountaineers for decades to come. Thank you very much.
We have found that they are such good stewards of the money that what we have contributed, they've taken and used in the best possible way to make the education for the students better, to do their research, to provide for the community in ways such as the new art museum, or concerts, or dance, art exhibits. To me, it's just a very, very joyful place. It's just a happy place.
I'm in art history, and art history is in the School of Art and Design. So many of my students are studio students. Others are in art history, and others are in art education. The wonderful thing about the School of Art and Design is the cooperation between different colleagues within the school. My colleagues and I place great import on looking closely. That means getting right up to the object that you're studying. And so having a museum here is tremendous. We have a great classroom here. We now teach a lot of our classes over in the museum, but the museum itself is a classroom. Allison and Patrick are friends of the museum, of the department. They actually sponsor a speaker every year for the School of Art and Design. And knowing them, I feel responsible. They're very serious about West Virginia, and this is a place that they value and they're inspirational to us.
Please welcome to the stage Natalie Crutcher, DMA candidate in voice at the WVU College of Creative Arts, to sing My Home Among the Hills.
There's a land of rolling mountains where the sky is blue above, and though I may roam, I hurry home to the friendly hills I love, where the moonlit meadows ring with the call of whippoorwills. Always you will find me in my home among the hills, and where the sun draws rainbows in the mist of waterfalls and mountain rills. My heart will be always in the West Virginia hills. Their autumn hillsides are bright with scarlet trees, and in the spring the robins sing, while apple blossoms whisper in the breeze. And there is music in the flashing streams, and joy in fields of daffodils, laughter through the happy valleys of my home among the hills.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome 2016 Foundation Scholar Travis Rawson.
Wow, that's a tough act to follow. So my name is Travis Rawson, and I'm an upcoming junior Foundation Scholar here. I'm born and raised from Ravenswood, West Virginia, and I'm majoring in immunology and medical microbiology with minors in Spanish and biology. So, thank you. So when I found out I was a Foundation Scholar, I was actually driving in Parkersburg, West Virginia. And I got the call, and Brian Hoover was talking to me, and he was asking me questions like, hey, did you enjoy the weekend? I'm glad to have you. And I thought he was going to let me down easy and tell me I didn't have it. But then he offered me the scholarship, and I was shocked. I was excited. And I pulled over on the side of the road, almost wrecked because I was so excited. And I tried to call my mom, and she didn't answer. And then I called my dad. He didn't answer. Even called my brother, my grandma, my other grandma. No one would answer the phone, and I had the most exciting news to tell them. So I was sitting there, and 30 minutes later, my mom calls back, and she was with my grandma shopping, which was no surprise. And we just sat there, and they started crying. We were so excited. But then I had a dilemma, because I had a scholarship offer from somewhere else, and I had to pick which one. But I had the Foundation Scholarship to thank for keeping me from making one of the biggest mistakes of my life, going to Marshall. So the Foundation Scholars allowed me to explore all of my intellectual curiosities and my interests. And it's allowed me to be a full-time student, so I don't have to worry about a job or my finances. Over the past 2 years, I've volunteered over 700 hours. I have been an officer in 2 or 3 student organizations. I've traveled to Ecuador, Peru, to put on mobile clinics for the impoverished people in the communities. And I'm extensively involved in my research lab. And all of this is possible because of the donors and the generosity. So the travel stipend, I'm about to use that in 2 weeks, actually, and I'm going to Spain to study the Spanish culture and the language. And then after graduation, I plan on going back there for 1 to 3 years to teach Spanish to primary and secondary schools there. So, okay. And not only has the Foundation Scholarship helped me during and will continue to help me in college, but it's going to help me with the rest of my life because it set me up for success. I plan, after I'm done teaching in Spain, I plan on coming back to the States and getting an MD PhD here right in Morgantown. And with my final words, I would like to thank you all. Your generous contributions have made and will continue to make this a great institution. Thank you.
And now let's hear from 2003 Foundation Scholar Matthew Shesler.
Hi, good evening. I'm Matt Shesler from the Foundation Scholarship class of 2003, and very happy to be here, and thank you all for having me. When I was here as an undergrad, I studied chemistry and biochemistry, and then graduated from the School of Medicine in 2011. I trained up in Pittsburgh and Boston, and then had a chance to come back to West Virginia, where both my wife and I are from, to start my career as an orthopedic surgeon. I still remember getting the call about the Foundation Scholarship about 15 years ago, back in April. They called, said, "You're a Foundation Scholarship winner," and at that moment, my college list was pared down to 1, WVU. There was no other choice. How can you turn that down? But when I had the phone call, my parents were looking at me, wondering who's on the phone, and my dad went to Pitt. And so when I got off the phone, I'm like, well, I got a scholarship to WVU, and that's where I'm going to go. So it took a few years, and once my sister became a Mountaineer as well, he started wearing proud West Virginia dad shirts. You wouldn't believe it. But the Foundation Scholarship certainly gave me an opportunity to pursue a very well-rounded liberal arts education. I studied classes and courses that I probably never would have taken. And I find myself applying those ideas day to day in my surgical practice. The travel stipend allowed me to go to Italy. I was exposed to culture, art, architecture that I certainly would have never seen on my own without the Foundation Scholarship. I think I have to thank all the donors to the WVU Foundation. I had a very generous scholarship, and without it, I would have never gotten the world-class education with the endless opportunity that I had here in Morgantown, West Virginia. And because of the Foundation Scholarship and the ability to be here in West Virginia, go to medical school here, I have a chance now to have a career that I love, and my wife and I are now able to be back in West Virginia, and we're even raising our son to be a future Mountaineer. But it's difficult to articulate in a short period of time how much WVU and the WVU Foundation have impacted my life. But if I could say one thing, it would be that I hope to be like everyone in this room one day, to be successful and generous, and to have hopefully the same impact that you all have had on me for others that want to follow in those same footsteps. So thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Please welcome to the stage Susan Brewer, chairperson of the WVU Foundation Board of Directors, to induct our 2018 Woodburn Circle Society members.
Thank you. In March of 2004, a group much like this one gathered at the WVU Creative Arts Center to celebrate the success of the Building Greatness campaign that raised over $336 million. The Woodburn Circle Society was born that night. Named for the original group of buildings on West Virginia University's campus built in the 1800s, Martin Hall, Woodburn Hall, and Chitwood Hall, the Woodburn Circle Society has continued to serve as the WVU Foundation's premier recognition society. The symbol of academic and student activities in the early years of West Virginia University, Woodburn Circle has been an essential part of the university's 150-year history. Likewise, as the importance of private support on campus has continued to increase, the Woodburn Circle Society has become an equally important part of West Virginia University. In keeping with tradition, we take a moment from our campaign celebration tonight to recognize and welcome the 2018 class of inductees to the Woodburn Circle Society. These donors have made cumulative gifts or pledges of $100,000 or more during the past year to benefit the university and its affiliated organizations. Our inductees have at their seats a gold pin of the Woodburn Hall Clock Tower, affirming their membership in the society. As I read your names, would all the new Woodburn Circle Society inductees in attendance tonight please stand and remain standing? I ask that we hold our applause until all the inductees have been recognized. The David Allen Trust, represented by John and Joyce Allen. James and Shirley Bailey. Neil and Connie Bucklew. Christine and James Davis. Daniel and Alexandra Dunkel. Raymond and Barbara Heinerman. Pam and John Larrick. Gary Nicholas. David O'Neill and William Masters. Phil Saul and Amy Davis. William and Dorothy Skidmore. Catherine and Richard Swanson. Larry and Ladonna Taylor. Webster County 4-H clubs, represented by Betsy Morris. Congratulations to our new Woodburn Circle Society members, and please join me in thanking them. Thank you.
I'm very grateful to Fred Tattersall for his generosity in creating the endowment for the Tattersall Research Chair in Finance. Some of my work looks at how people trade around public information releases. My recent work finds that some traders have what essentially is private information about public information releases, and they trade accordingly ahead of those announcements and generate substantial profits.
We also are supportive of the Student Managed Investment Fund for the College of Business and Economics for the finance team, and Dr. Naomi Boyd has done an amazing job really organizing this class for these students to manage this investment fund. But as part of that experience, Naomi and I have worked together to have the students come to New York City for visits.
To be able to go to New York, and Penny's done so much. She gets those site visits for us, she pulls our connections, and we really get to have like first-hand experience and get to talk to these individuals that are CFOs and CEOs of companies, so we definitely wouldn't have that without their generosity.
Yeah, it was a really fantastic experience. You know, it was a good opportunity to get out of the classroom and get some real-world experience, because you can only learn so much from textbooks.
I basically just thank Mrs. Roll for taking such a personal interest in me. I'm interning in New York this summer. For them to take such a personal interest and to really, really care. So I just wanted to express my gratitude for that.
Well, it's really an honor to be a part of this team. This isn't a class. We work with real money, real-time markets, and it's great to collaborate with all these great minds.
Thanks a billion.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the chair of the WVU Alumni Association Board of Directors, Maylene Davis.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you've had a great evening. It's been a pleasure to be here. Although I am proud to have the estimable title of the chair of the West Virginia Alumni Association Board of Directors, indeed, I am the chief volunteer officer, a rose by any other name. But in truth, I can fathom no greater urgency than for WVU to lead the way for an envisioned future of hope and prosperity and a positive zest for life and learning that embodies the spirit of the thousands of alums that have had this great experience at our university. Just last month, WVU alums J. Keith Bowers, Michael Flowers, Oliver Luck, Albert Lewis, and Alan Zuccari were inducted into the prestigious WVU Academy of Distinguished Alumni. They joined the likes of Jerry West, David Selby, Sam Huff, and Robert Fogelsong, all of whom have proven themselves so worthy of our admiration. Their achievements have clearly demonstrated grit, determination, perseverance, and they are deserving of our admiration for their resilience, and that is the WVU brand. They have set the bar so very high for all of us who call ourselves mountaineers. Over the years, my husband, Bob, and I have, as well as other members of my family, have really joyfully been able to give to the university and have done it out of the joy that my parents had from being associated with the university through their enjoyment of the sporting events for many, many years. But the academic activities, the educational opportunities, I'm a graduate of the WVU School of Nursing and the business school here, and that has served me very, very well for many, many years. We can all identify so much need among our families, our immediate communities, the nation, the state. Let's face it, there are needs everywhere. But I can think of no better opportunity to provide support where enduring value is guaranteed. Or stated as a businesswoman, our return on investment is so high as through continuous and ongoing investment in our very own shiny city on the hill, WVU. And so it gives me great pleasure to thank all the volunteers in the room, those who served on unit campaign committees, those who made introductory calls, those who completed peer screenings, and those who prepared conversations for our development staff. You played a key role in raising over $1.2 billion during this campaign. You are where the rubber meets the road, or the grassroots. Would all of those who played a role as a volunteer during the campaign please stand and let us recognize you for your efforts. Yes, this means you. Thanks so much.
Okay, well, I like to say 1.2 billion thanks. And I would like to say thanks to my good friend and co-chairman, Bob Reynolds. And I'd like to say thanks to all of the West Virginia University Foundation. They worked so hard for this, and it's just a wonderful and great achievement for our university.
Yeah, the $1 billion is truly a milestone, and it's amazing as you talk to people around the country and you say, I've been involved in the capital campaign. Well, how much did you raise? And you say, over 1.2 billion. They take a step back.
When you think of the economic base we have in West Virginia versus the other states, it's truly phenomenal. And I don't, again, just to, not to repeat, I don't think it's the end, I think it's just the beginning.
We can't thank people enough because $1.2 billion is a lot of money for any university. One of the delights about this campaign has been the opportunity to get to know some wonderful people. The co-chairs, Bob Reynolds and Verl Purdy, just did a wonderful job. And they liked each other. There was not a lot of competition. And both of them gave great gifts to the institution. You know, that's leadership. Give and then ask other people to give. Ben and Joe Statler did a great job in terms of our Statler College. We have obviously real commitments to our College of Business and Economics. Bob Reynolds gave a wonderful gift to build a new building, and the Holmans was the last gift, a significant gift, which got us over the top at $1.2 billion, by the way.
Thanks a billion.
It cannot be done by any one person or even a small group. It takes an army. For us, it took over 90,000 of Army soldiers to do it, and you're part of that. So you're part of that family, the Mountaineer spirit.
Our purpose is to drive the people of this state toward their own goals and to get so many people out of hopelessness and out of despair. The role of this university is absolutely remarkable. No institution, I believe, has a greater calling in this country than this institution.
So now we celebrate. We celebrate you, we celebrate the accomplishments of the entire team of a fabulous outcome. Tomorrow, now we're going to turn our attention to help West Virginia University be the catalyst for the state and beyond to address the opportunities and the needs that are out there. Thank you, and let's go.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, and let's go, let's do great things. We're going to build this state into a powerhouse of achievement and opportunity. We're going to show people that a state that everyone flies over is not a forgotten state. It's a place of real achievement. That's what we're going to do.
Thanks a billion.
Well, a billion is a big number, but I think that can best be described by this phrase. West Virginia and West Virginia University are comprised of ordinary people with extraordinary hearts. And I think that's how you reach $1 billion.
Thanks a billion.
And, of course, thanks a billion.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Cindy Roth, President and CEO of the WVU Foundation.
Oh my goodness, how amazing tonight has been. Thank you all so very much for your time tonight as we celebrate something so special to so many people. To our amazing campaign chairman, Bob Reynolds, Verl Purdy, wow, the two of you did it. Way to go. Thank you so much. So where do I begin? I only have 2 minutes. Oh my gosh, that's hard for me. What an incredible evening. But I have to tell you, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is just a taste of the success of what West Virginia University can do whenever Mountaineer Nation really comes together. This campaign was a huge team effort from so many people, volunteers around the country, working with the entire team, internally, externally, the deans, the administrators, all of our development staff, front office, back office, every single person around this state in all of our campuses, all of our units pulled together. The challenges and the goals that were set by university administration and leadership, we surpassed those goals. President Gee, I cannot thank you enough for your leadership and your vision over these past 4 years that have helped us get past $1.2 billion. Thank you, Gordon. So where do we go from here? WVU, just like our colleagues around the country, rely now more than ever on private philanthropy. It's the state of reality. We are not finished. Quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, we've only just begun. Our next goal, yes, there'll be a next one, will be higher, and it will be done in a shorter time period. But we're starting to position ourselves now to be ready for the future, to meet the university's needs that continue to grow. You heard it tonight, ladies and gentlemen, from students, faculty, researchers. We're making a difference, and that's important. So we will go beyond, and that's why we're saying $1 billion and beyond. Our journey continues. I want to thank you for your incredible generosity. We could not do it without every single person in this room and beyond pulling in that direction. But I also know that I can count on your support going forward as we continue to make WVU the best land-grant flagship research institution in the country for the people of West Virginia and beyond. Congratulations, and thank you so much.
What do you say after this evening? Wow. And that's all I have to say. Thank you, one and all.
Ditto. No, this was truly a fabulous night, and thanks everyone in this room for participating, not only in the campaign, but making this night really unforgettable for everyone here. And I'd like to reiterate what Cindy said, that we've only just begun. The needs of this university will continue to grow and will continue to be there. So congratulations. Thank you very much.
So, So let's count down to our campaign total. So everyone count with me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Please welcome back Madeline Crutcher to lead us in the singing of the WVU Alma Mater.
Alma, our alma mater, the home of mountaineers, sing we of thy honor, everlasting through the years. Alma, our alma mater, we pledge in song to you. Hail, all hail our alma mater, West Virginia U.
Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy the dessert reception in the back of the hall. And remember that you can dance the night away to celebrate our $1.2 billion campaign in the Platinum Ballrooms upstairs with music by Gary Rayson and the Studio E Band.